welcome to the new review of the version 2 of Gpaint line, the ultimate starter pack provided by Site 7. New version, same colors, some small differences in the packaging and the bottles, version 1, version 2. You can see slight redesign, so if you already have the old version, version 1, you can differentiate between the two versions because of the different labels on the. So what's new with version 2? Version 2 does not require a primer, so it can be used directly on the plastic. I've tested it out, yeah, and it works fine without primer for the most part. You do have to work with thin coats, because if you use the white color and you spray it on really thick. I noticed this yesterday when spraying this part. It's from the Sinanju OVA version from Bandai. As you can see, I hope, it didn't came out white, it actually came out pink. When you spray on the paint too thick, there is a chance that the paint will react to the plastic more than it should. Normally, lacquer paints, they react with the plastic to create a good bond, but it shouldn't turn your white paint into pink. So yeah, this was a good test. When spraying on really heavy, this can happen. If you spray it on thin coats, no problem. If I go back to the version 1 of Gpaint for the white color, you can see in my other review that it came out really grainy with the first several coats, but I found version 2 to be more even, more smooth, even during the first 1 or 2 coats. So I like it. The new version, version 2 of the white. I tested white, red, yellow, blue and green. It's the most important colors without the primer. I don't know if it's scratch resistant. Okay, this is a metal piece, so that's not really fair. Let's try a wood skewer. So yeah, it's pretty scratch resistant. This was sprayed yesterday, so it was allowed to cure for 12 to 16 hours, I think. So with a wooden skewer, you can see a discoloration, you can see the scratches, but the paint does not come off immediately. Take a metal piece, it's gone, just like that. Yeah. Regarding the coverage, the white took several layers to get good opaque coverage, and I can still see a tiny bit of red bleeding through. What can you do about it? Let's see. This part, also done yesterday, it looks kind of white-ish. Still some red bleeding through. So yeah, for the white you need a lot of thin coats to build up the color. So now let's check out the yellow. This took a lot of layers. It's still not really vibrant if you compare it to the bottle. Give it a shake. So you can see the color in the bottle is much more vibrant than on this red part. But I think if you keep spraying and spraying thin layers, you can build up the color more and more. You can also get a nice gradient depending on the plastic color. So this was again from the Sinanju, so red plastic. Directly on it I used the yellow to get the gradients. So that's quite nice. The blue, good coverage. I think it took 2 to 3 layers to build up the color. I don't see any red through it, except on the sides, but that's what you get for not spraying it. So that's quite nice. The green only took 2 layers. So the coverage of the green is the best of all the colors I tested. Again, we'll test it. Oh. I can hardly see any discoloration. No, let's test it on the blue. That's quite nice. It's quite sturdy. I did not expect it to be this tough. Oh my, this is good. So you can see, if you build up the color properly, it really is scratch resistant. Going back to the yellow part, same thing. So, even the yellow, I don't scratch right through it. Probably because of all the layers I had to use to get the yellow color to become opaque. So yeah, it took quite a bit of layering. So that's probably why it's tough now, because of all the layers. See, with wood, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Which is amazing. I wasn't expecting it to be this durable without any primer. Oh my. I don't see anything. I'm trying my best to get it to scratch with wood, but it's not giving any. Wait, what's that? That was a piece of wood coming off. So that's, yeah, I think we can say it's quite durable even without a primer under it. Oh my. See, I can see the marks, but it's just a slight discoloration. I think if you wet it, no, not wet it. Damn, it's gone. And this is only 600 grit. So you should be able to polish out small scratches. Back to the metal. This is 1 to 2 layers of green. You can see comes off rather easily. Compared to the yellow, it's easy to get off with metal, but not with wood. For the blue, 2 to 3 layers, with slightly thicker than the green. Same thing. With metal and metal, it goes through. But with wood, probably plastic also, nothing. Let's check with plastic. No, almost nothing to see. And with model kits like the Bandai Goomplas, it's a lot of plastic on plastic, which can create the scratches and dents. So I'm quite liking this. For a paint without any primer underneath, it's quite durable. I really wasn't expecting it to be this durable. Now, most of my painting is done using a black base. For people who don't know what black base is, you start with a black undercoat, primer, then I highlight it with grey, and on top of that I use the base color. So I made a test with version 1 and version 2. You can see, you can get the same result. Version 2 is a bit more glossy, slightly more vibrant. But if I put a clear coat gloss on version 1 and version 2, it shouldn't make any difference at all. So yeah, with my painting style, I still can really use these new Gpaints. But I have to say, I will probably use them most of all with primer, because of the way that I paint. Having tested most of the colors. I like them, just as I liked version 1 of Gpaint. Sadly, still only 8 colors, but in the box you get a nice mixing chart with some sample colors. And with the 8 colors you have, well, the 6 without the 2 metallics, you can basically create every shade you would need for your builds. I don't like mixing my own colors all of the time, so I still use a lot of Mr. Hobby and Tamiya for specific colors, because it's easier in my workflow. Having said that, I really like the new version. Spray's the same. On the card, that Studio G, I think Justin put in the box, he indicates using 30 to 40 psi when using a 2 or 3 millimeter nozzle. Let me check my compressor. I sprayed it yesterday using 15 to 20 psi without any problems. Using it at 30 to 40 psi, well, it gave me this with the white. So yeah, all in all, I really like the paints. The pressure recommendation of 30 to 40 psi, I like to lower it a bit to 15 to 20 psi. More than enough in my opinion. Cleaning, everything, same as version 1, using lacquer thinner to clean out my airbrush or isopropyl alcohol. It works fine. It's still one of the strongest smelling paints that I have, and I use Mr. Hobby, Alclad, Tamiya, whatever you want to call it, Vallejo. What else do I have? Ammo Mig. I think that's about it. Yeah. Okay, some old Revel and Humbrol animal paints, but I hardly use them. But of all the paints I have, Gpaint has the strongest smell. If you do it correctly, using a spray booth and a respirator, you shouldn't notice. Anything else to report? You can check out my old review of Gpaint for a more in-depth view of how I sprayed the parts for that review and how I made the plastic card chart that I showed just a bit ago. This one. So yeah. Check it out. It's a really long video. It was my first review, first English video, and the first one with me actually speaking instead of just showing my hands. It's about 15 minutes, I think. I hope to make this one a bit shorter. I'll do my best. Thank you for watching. Until next time, bye bye.